For over 10 years, Milla Jovovich ruled Hollywood as the undisputed queen of action cinema. From teen supermodel to devoted mum, she conquered Hollywood with The Fifth Element and Resident Evil before stepping back at her absolute peak. This traces her journey through sci-fi blockbusters, where playing the legendary Alice transformed her into the genre's most recognizable and bankable star. Her character Alice generated over $1.23 billion across 6 films, cementing her status as a genuine global superstar. Yet, following the 2017 finale of Resident Evil and her massive 2020 release Monster Hunter, Milla seemingly vanished from blockbuster cinema. What actually happened to the star VH1 famously dubbed the ultimate kick-butt queen? Did she walk away by choice, or did outside forces push her out? That is exactly what we are uncovering today. Milla Bogdanovna Jovovich was born on December 17, 1975, in Kyiv, back when Ukraine remained under Soviet rule. Her Serbian dad, Bogdan, worked as a pediatrician, while her Russian descent mom, Galina, starred in Soviet theater. That unique blend of Serbian, Russian, and Ukrainian roots deeply shaped the worldly vibe defining her entire career. When Milla turned 5, her family packed up and moved to London, chasing better opportunities. They later relocated to Sacramento, California, before putting down roots in Los Angeles, where everything shifted permanently. Constantly moving and adapting to new cultures gave Milla an incredibly global mindset, plus the skill to speak fluent Russian, English, and French. Breaking into the modeling industry happened purely by chance. At just 9 years old, a talent scout spotted her strolling through an mall alongside her mum. Her unique exotic features and striking, expressive eyes instantly captivated the entire fashion world. By age 11, Milla was already booking professional modeling gigs when iconic photographer Richard Avedon cast her in Revlon's most unforgettable Women in the World campaign. That specific ad instantly launched her into supermodel territory, making her the decade's most sought-after face. Throughout her teen years, she collaborated with elite brands like L'Oreal, Banana Republic, Christian Dior, Versace, and Chanel. She graced countless major magazine covers while strutting down highly exclusive runways across Paris, Milan, and New York. By 16, she had cemented her status as a top-tier supermodel, yet Milla always aimed higher than the runway. Back in 1988, at just 13, she made her acting debut in the TV movie Night Train to Kathmandu. She also landed her first big-screen gig in Two Moon Junction that very same year, albeit playing a minor part. Her massive acting breakthrough hit in 1991 with Return to the Blue Lagoon, rebooting the classic Brooke Shields hit. Milla played Lily, a young castaway coming of age on a remote, gorgeous tropical island. Even though critics felt torn about the movie, Milla earned serious praise for proving her talent ran much deeper than just a pretty face. Filming Return to the Blue Lagoon proved both thrilling and tough for the teenager. At barely 16, shooting nude scenes and navigating on-screen romances forced her to grow up professionally overnight. While the film pulled in decent box office numbers, it crucially stamped Milla as a legitimate actress. Then, in 1992, the 16-year-old dropped a bombshell decision that shocked absolutely everyone. She eloped with Shawn Andrews, her 21-year-old dazed and confused co-star. Her mum quickly shut that down, though, getting the marriage legally annulled after just 2 short months. That wild chapter kicked off a long-running pattern of intense, whirlwind romances that defined her private life for years. Over the next few years, Milla juggled modeling gigs and minor film roles, desperately trying to find her Hollywood footing. In 1994, she threw a curveball by dropping a music album called The Divine Comedy, proving her artistry knew zero boundaries. Even without shattering mainstream sales records, the record brilliantly showcased her incredible creative versatility. Everything truly shifted for Milla in 1997 when visionary French director Luc Besson tapped her to co-star alongside Bruce Willis in The Fifth Element. Playing Lilu, an ultimate being engineered to rescue humanity, she anchored this sci-fi masterpiece. Built on a massive $90 million budget, The Fifth Element instantly exploded into a massive cultural phenomenon. Smashing the box office, it grossed over $263 million globally and immediately cemented itself as a sci-fi classic. Milla's turn as Lilu was unforgettable. She literally invented a brand new language for the role, effortlessly balancing raw power, pure innocence, and deep vulnerability. The blockbuster did not just crown her a legitimate sci-fi star, it completely flipped her personal life upside down. She fell for Luc Besson on set, leading to their 1997 wedding. Their marriage lasted only 2 years, but he directed her again in 1999's The Messenger, The Story of Joan of Arc, delivering her most fiercely ambitious performance. Playing Joan let Milla flex her full dramatic muscles. The demanding shoot involved brutal physical stunts, heavy emotional monologues, and carrying an entire historical epic squarely on her own shoulders. While reviews for the film were pretty split, critics widely praised Milla's raw performance. Following her divorce from Besson, she pivoted hard toward mixing up her Hollywood resume. She took on 2009's The Fourth Kind as a psychologist, digging into alien abductions, constantly bouncing back and forth between big-budget hits and edgy indie projects. But her ultimate career-defining move arrived in 2002, snagging the lead in Resident Evil, the highly anticipated silver screen adaptation of Capcom's iconic video game. Helmed by Paul W.S. Anderson, the flick introduced Alice, a former Umbrella Corporation operative, waking up completely amnesiac inside a terrifying underground zombie-infested facility. Early on, Milla nearly walked away from the entire gig. The studio cast Michelle Rodriguez in a major part, heavily rewriting the script to boost her screen time, while drastically shrinking Milla's character arc. "I almost quit," she revealed years later. Reading the new draft mid-flight from Canada to Germany, she landed in Berlin completely furious about the drastic changes. Milla marched straight into director Paul W.S. Anderson's hotel room, spending 3 grueling hours dissecting the script page by page until they finally reached a solid compromise. That hardcore brainstorming session saved the movie and sparked a lifelong creative and romantic partnership. Resident Evil became a massive sleeper hit, turning a tiny $33 million budget into a staggering $102 million global box office smash. Milla played Alice flawlessly. She engineered a warrior who was vulnerable, yet insanely lethal, perfectly blurring the line between broken human and unstoppable superhuman. Her grueling physical prep and fearless commitment to insane stunts locked her in as a legitimate action star. The sheer success of Resident Evil instantly greenlit a massive franchise. Milla brought Alice back for Apocalypse in 2004, Extinction in 2007, Afterlife in 2010, Retribution in 2012, and finally, the final chapter in 2017. Across those crazy 15 years, the series evolved into the most successful video game adaptation ever made, raking in over $1,230 million worldwide. Every single sequel demanded months of brutal conditioning, featuring 3 daily hours mastering hand-to-hand combat, advanced martial arts, tactical weapons training, and crazy stunt work. Amidst all that on-screen chaos, her private life finally found real peace. Her romance with Paul Anderson, sparking back during that 2002 script rewrite, steadily grew into something incredibly deep and meaningful. They tied the knot in 2009, morphing their work dynamic into a powerhouse creative partnership. Earlier, in 2007, Milla actually welcomed their firstborn daughter, Eva Gabo Anderson. Becoming a mum completely flipped her worldview. During a tearful sit-down, Milla confessed that the moment Eva arrived, she suddenly realized some things easily eclipse any blockbuster or acting gig. Locking eyes with her for the very first time just rewired my soul. I stopped being just a Hollywood star. Stepping into my role as a mother became my ultimate purpose. She welcomed her second baby girl, Dashiell Eden Anderson, in 2015, before having little Ossian Lark Elliot Jovovich Anderson in 2020. As her family kept growing, the star quietly started stepping back from the grueling Hollywood grind. Releasing Resident Evil, the final chapter in 2017 officially wrapped up the biggest era of her time on screen. She admitted she really wasn't prepared to let go of Alice. She tearfully called it the hardest thing she ever had to do. That farewell movie actually featured a beautiful personal Easter egg. Her oldest kid, Eva, stepped in to play a younger Alice, perfectly symbolizing a real passing of the torch. Once her zombie-slaying days ended, she got incredibly picky about taking on new gigs. She teamed up with Paul Anderson again in 2020 for Monster Hunter, stepping into the combat boots of Captain Natalie Artemis. Sadly, the flick tanked hard with both critics and the box office, barely scraping together $47.9 million globally against a $60 million budget. That monster flick ended up being a total disaster on multiple fronts. Chinese theaters actually yanked it from screens after just 3 days because a controversial joke crossed the line. On top of brutal reviews, Die-hard gamers felt the adaptation completely missed the magic of the original console hit. Watching that blockbuster crash and burn basically gave her the sign to ditch big studio shoots. Hitting 45, the star had already crushed every single Hollywood goal she ever chased, and her true focus had shifted entirely somewhere else. Ever since 2020, she has been flying totally under the Hollywood radar. She pours all her energy into raising her 3 girls and cheering on their creative dreams. Her eldest, Eva, is already catching the acting bug, recently popping up in the 2023 Disney Plus release, Peter Pan and Wendy. These days, she bounces between Los Angeles and quiet getaway spots, fiercely guarding her family's privacy. While recent sit-downs prove she would absolutely tackle the right script, that will only happen if the shooting schedule never clashes with her duties as a mum. Her only confirmed gigs include the fantasy adventure In the Lost Lands alongside Dave Bautista, plus an upcoming gritty thriller casting her as a grizzled former combat veteran. Even so, both of those upcoming productions are staying super quiet with completely up-in-the-air release dates. A perfect storm of reasons pushed the starlet away from those massive studio blockbusters. For starters, spending 15 straight years tackling hardcore, action-heavy roles definitely put some serious mileage on her body. Stacking up injuries from doing her own wild stunt work eventually left her dealing with some lingering physical wear and tear. Secondly, the entire entertainment landscape had totally shifted under her feet. Those solid, mid-budget action flicks that practically built her brand just were not making reliable bank at the box office anymore. Big studios started pouring all their cash into gigantic comic book universes or straight-to-streaming content, which were areas where she simply hadn't staked her claim. Most importantly, having kids completely rewrote her life goals. She actually mentioned in a recent chat that raising her children easily ranks as her proudest achievement ever. She could shoot 1,000 blockbusters, but absolutely nothing beats watching her girls grow up and cheering them on at every milestone. Suddenly, the thought of being stuck on a remote film set for months at a time completely lost its charm. Ultimately, she built up enough of a massive nest egg to basically have the luxury of turning down almost any script. Stacking royalty checks from her zombie-killing days alongside some seriously smart investments meant she could chase pure passion projects instead of chasing a paycheck. Now hitting 49, the iconic actress has finally dialed in a lifestyle rhythm that perfectly suits her. She managed to stay culturally relevant without letting Hollywood consume her private life, a seriously rare win for her peer group. Without a doubt, her explosively footprint on the action genre remains absolutely legendary. Iconic hits like The Fifth Element and her blockbuster zombie saga are still the gold standard for sci-fi junkies everywhere. The way she brought Alice to life practically wrote the blueprint for an entire generation of tough female protagonists. For well over 10 years, she completely shattered the mold of what a female badder looked like on screen. Looking back, her crazy journey dropped some serious truth bombs about surviving the entertainment industry and redefining success. Having the guts to put her loved ones way ahead of the spotlight proves a level of personal growth that most celebrities desperately struggle to find. Stepping away at the absolute height of her fame totally flips the script on traditional Hollywood ambition. Most importantly, she proved you can successfully pivot and reinvent yourself during totally different chapters of life, going from a fresh-faced teenage model to a serious dramatic talent, evolving into an action powerhouse, and finally settling into her role as a fiercely devoted mom just highlights her insane versatility. For all the die-hard fans missing her massive theatrical releases, her classic catalogue still packs a major punch. That heavy influence she left on the sci-fi and action landscape still lights a creative fire under rookie filmmakers and aspiring actresses today. In a cutthroat business notorious for throwing aging female stars aside, she beautifully hacked the system to keep her star power intact, while quietly enjoying a deeply fulfilling personal life off-camera. This isn't some tragic tale of a fading career or a massive flop, but rather a masterclass in intentional growth and figuring out what actually matters in the end. So, there you have it. The full breakdown of how Milla managed to completely rewrite the rules of success. It serves as an awesome reminder to always champion your own truth over Hollywood pressure, and to proudly choose your loved ones over fleeting superstar fame. If you enjoyed this deep dive, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more wild behind-the-scenes stories from Tinseltown. Catch you guys in the next upload.